Okay, so here we are, week two. How quickly the weeks go. So this week we are, as we go through each week, we are building each week. There are the things that we discuss are building stories, different ways of looking at life in our minds. But underneath that is underneath who you are underneath it all. And as we go along, this will become more and more apparent. That's the extra layer of training that is the deep foundational stuff that I would want you to be becoming aware of as we go along. And especially tonight is really introducing that to you. So last week we talked about, it was kind of like just having a look at what's in there, what's going on in your life, where are the pockets that you're really not clear about. And sometimes it's just about noticing that, because sometimes noticing fixes more than trying to fix it. And that's the wonderful thing about becoming aware about things in your life, that we can sometimes hide away from just focusing on an area that we think is going to take a lot of effort to change. And it's not about that. Sometimes it's just about noticing. It can be enough to just lighten it and shift it. So we went through those four areas. We kind of went into your playroom and had a good look around to see what was going on in your life. And we, we basically want to shake it all up and see what's there and see what isn't there that we need to maybe focus on in. So week two, this is about decluttering your life. And as we go through this, you'll see that clutter is such a mindset, that the physical clutter is a representation of what's going on in your mind. So I'm going to go through the training, and then if you've got any questions, just to reply to the training, and let's see what we can shift for you. So let's just get going. So why declutter? Why is it so important to declutter? One of the things, like I was saying about clutter, is that it's such a mindset. It's where we hold on to thoughts, memories, stories, reasons, excuses, rhymes, desires, future explanations. And it kind of, if you think about it, it'll either take you in your past or take you into the future. But it rarely takes you into present time. And this is how you get clarity. When we clear out, what we're going to do this week is going to do a mini declutter challenge. And what it's going to do is it teaches you how to get clarity, because it will teach you about the patterns that you have in your life, the thought patterns that create the habits that you've got, that keep the clutter in your life, the reasons, the excuses, the things that you want to hold on to in the belief that makes you you. So as an example, it means that if you're not strong enough to take on the challenge of your life that you really want, it's because you're holding on so much to a reason in your past that if you let go of that, who are you without it? Like, who's there underneath all of that clutter, underneath all that thoughts? And that is how you get that connection to you. And that's what I'm looking for you for this month. It's about that. Who is underneath all of that? Who is she? And what does she really want to play out? What does she really want to do? And then, because when people ask me about confidence, the confidence that we seek is not about having the confidence on top of the story. Because it's like, if you think about it, it's just like you've got this pure connection to your true self. And then adding on a story is kind of like adding on a layer of shit, really, or some good things, some bad things, but it's all a bit of a mixture, and we're going to add it on the top, and then we're going to try and go out and be confident about who that is, with that layer of stuff that's kind of masking over who you really are. So once we can get rid of that layer, or we can recognize that layer and let it go, what's left is you. And underneath that is that little girl, that you know, that soul, that whatever you want to call it, underneath. Like, who are you if you're not your thoughts? Who are you if you're not that thing? Who are you when you let go of all of those reasons and excuses and they just drop away? And that's the space that we're going to be exploring this week, of when you're not anybody else, you're just being you. So we're going to do this mini declutter. And I say mini, it's intense because it's 6 days. So there's going to be, you're going to get 6 days of areas in your life that I want you to look at. And they may well be very simple things, like to look at an area in your house or your life to clear stuff out. And what I want you to look at sometimes is that there are, in there are great patterns that we can look at, that over the 6 days, you'll see that there are patterns in your life. Somebody just come on, if you could just mute yourself. Because they're echoing. There are great patterns, and there are bad patterns. And the only difference between them is that one's getting you what you want and one isn't. So when we're looking at those thoughts and those patterns that come from the thoughts, all we want to be doing over this week is to look at what's the results they're creating, and are those results connected to who you are underneath and what you ultimately want in life. And if they're not, they might be a way that you've structured your life that we can look at to see that it might be focused in the wrong area. So we can kind of like pick it up and move it into an area that's going to be more effective. As an example, sometimes we get overexcited and overdramatic about something very simple and very small. So we put all of our intention and our enthusiasm into something really small in our life because it gives us all the boundaries and everything else that we need, and therefore we can make it this super efficient thing that's amazing. And then we can look at actually sort of why it's not really working. Because there's too much pressure and there's too much focus on it. And actually what we need to do is just to put that into an area where we need it to be. And that is when we kind of look, when we've got the clarity around the clutter, around to be able to see and go, right, okay, it's the process that we need to put it into, to make it, to step it into something that's worthy of its intention, that's worthy of your focus and your ability. Because what happens is sometimes is that we've got a lot of clutter in our mind that distracts us from actually what we want to do. So once we've cleared that out and those thoughts out around old patterns behavior, new patterns behavior, future patterns behavior, we can then see what's left and then go, right, okay, well, that part of that really works. I want to take that and put that into my business, or I'm going to take that focus that I have in my fitness and see where the patterns are in that and put that over here. And we can then start to get more of an intentional life. And especially when we need to look at sort of, when I was looking at the PowerPoint, is that how they're not working currently. Because we can, when our life isn't working how we want it to be, we can kind of think that we need to clear it all out. And that's not what I want you to look at over this week, over these 5 weeks. I want you to look at the areas, and we really just need to really get clear on the bits that are working, that are getting us the results that we want, that are making us feel good about ourselves, making us feel whole, making us feel soothed. And those parts we want to keep. Those parts we want to actually keep and go, well, actually, what is about that that's really working? So why do we start? Starting with physical in life. starting with the physical and the cluttering, is just that I really want you to, this week, is to really look and come into the Facebook group, or actually come in and open your the email if they come via email, is to look and go, right, okay, what part of these things, some are going to be easier, but within it, if you follow these things through, you'll start to see the patterns. You'll start to see where you really enjoy things, and you'll start to see where things are really awkward for you. And when they are awkward for you, I want you to notice that. That's a really important thing to see for yourself, for you to become aware of things that are working and sometimes they're not. And it might be a subtle difference, but that's why I want you to really focus on this week, to be able to see. Each day will come up with a different challenge for you to go, oh, yeah, I can see where that's easy. And you may even start thinking that that's easy, and then it will come forward as being easy, and you might think, actually, oh god, this is going to be so hard. You might even be already thinking, oh my god, I don't want to do this is going to be the hardest bit, but actually it's just your thoughts. So just relax around what you think it's going to be and what it's not going to be. I promise you I'll make it as much fun as I can, because in what happens is that what by doing a physical declutter is that we can look at the mindset that goes along with it. And then by the end of doing these 6 days, you'll see enough of the patterns that will emerge of why you keep the clutter, what the clutter represents to you. Because the clutter, the physical clutter, is a mindset. It's how your thoughts have collated and collected to prove a point, to prove something to you. And that's what I want you to look at, because once we become conscious of that, we then have permission to see whether we want to change it or whether we want to keep it. So it's going to be, so you can see where you get caught in your head, what you notice about who you become with your stories. And when we do this in an intense period like this, they become so clear. Because when I'm kind of pushing into areas that may come up with pain, may come up with emotions, etc. And your journal prompts will be following up with that this week. Is the looking at of what are those stories, because stories and reasons and excuses and victimhood, all of those things that keep us in that place and keep us so strongly in that place that we can't move forward in it. It's to look at it and go, okay, I can now see that that's my story, that's my habit, that's my go-to place. Whether it be, I get irritated there, and that allows me, because I'm irritated, I have to remove myself from a situation, or I will find fault in it because it's irritating me, and therefore I'll shut it out. The lessons they'll teach about how you hide, because we change can be something that we fear. It's like, well, actually, I know that I want something more, but because I've got these old stories that are kind of attached to me, and I don't really know how to release them. But when you see that they're stories and you're holding on to them, it's about thanking them for what they've given you and allowing them to move on. And also to recognize that by holding them in that place of where they hold you, they'll keep you in that place. And the results of this will be really revealing, because there is like sort of, I've made a joke, it's like come out whoever you are, because underneath it is you, and that's who we want to come out to play. That's who wants to come out to play, and that's who is battling through all these stories and this kind of throw them over the internet and hold them on your shoulder. Right, okay, we're going to go and create a life we want, but we've got to do it through the filter of all of these until we can say, right, okay, well, day one, that's the story of that, and that's the story of that. Because you'll see, as you start to go through things, of the reasons that you give of why you keep things, why we keep hold of things and stuff, And because it allows you to stay where you are, it allows you to say, no, I can't do that because this somebody bought me this and it meant this to me at that point. Has no relevance to who I am now, but it did then. And and then you can just see, and then you'll realize you pick up another thing and you'll have the same story but it'll be a different name, and there'll be a same story and it'll be something else. And it's like then to look at it and go, right, okay, I can appreciate these things for what they gave me in my life, and let them go. And that'll be all part of what we do this week, of giving you a process to be able to appreciate the things that you've had, of how we declutter, why we declutter, what, and the process of being able to let go of things that just are not serving who you are today, sitting here listening to this and kind of who am I today, and the things that I want in my life, are these things supporting who I am now. So we will be journaling. I'll be doing journal prompts along the way, but also because we are bringing up a lot of old patterns. So one of the journaling that I think that I would really like you to watch out for this week is what I call consideration journaling. And it is to allow yourself to be freely verbal about your shit, for want of a better word, because it's such a great word. It's all the nasty stuff, all the, really allow all of that up and out, just to purge it, all of the swear words, all of the, I don't want to fucking do this. Why are you making me do this? Aim it at me, aim it at your mum, aim it at your dad, aim it at your siblings, aim it at your partners, ex-partners, whoever you want to. It's just, I want you to just be cathartic in what all these come up. Because it's going to be, like I said, there's going to be loads of old stories. It's like, just let them up and out, because you will stop. I promise you will stop. It's not going to be this for the rest of my life, Kerry. I'm going to start writing, he was a fucking old bastard. That won't happen. It won't happen. But sometimes it's just that if we keep hold of stuff, part of the decluttering is to release it. It's just like, just purge it, let it out, let it go, and set it free. And then on the next day, it will change. Sometimes there'll be more anger, more resentment, more annoyed. But, and then as you go along, you might, you'll find that you'll want to do that less and less and less. And then something will come up and trigger it, and you'll just go, oh, I need to get this out of my system, and I just need to just vent. But venting is a different way of living than having it simmer underneath that kind of pissed offness, that kind of person that Brexit's, how can anyone be happy? We've got Brexit looming, or we've got this looming, or I've got a divorce looming, or I've got this looming, and it's that simmering underneath. It's like, let it up and out so you can just get on with your life. Get on with being who you really want to be, not this person that's got all this stuff bubbling away. And that's what I want you to do, sort of in your noticing, in your journaling along that. But there's going to be journal prompts as well that will coincide with the decluttering. But I do want you to maybe just allow at least a page, a page of just flowing, kind of just of what am I noticing going on. I'm talking of what you're noticing. So what in this week and next, is that what I want you to be thinking about? What are you noticing? Where do you need to focus? What are the lessons that you're learning so far about yourself, and what's been pushed up to the surface? Where do you where do you need a lot of energy not to notice and to notice? What is consistently coming up? What are you noticing? What is it that what is it? What are the things that are coming up in your arena? Because there'll be synchronous things. Like, universe generally throws things in your life for you to start noticing, and then when you start to become more conscious, all of a sudden you'll start to notice things and you think, oh, gosh, that's the third time that's come up. And that's always a huge rule for me. 3 things. 3 things that come up, it's like, wow, that means stop. What's going on? What do I need to notice? How do I, where do I need to what do I need to let go of? What do I need to let go of? What clutter in my mind? So where do you need to sort of review and make a plan of the things that after you've done this week, after you've done these 6 days, I really want you to be looking at this all the time. What are you noticing? What are you noticing? How you're feeling? That's the whole point of it. It's we're stirring stuff up. I want you to look at stuff. Because next week we're talking about loving you and how and why you must put you first. This is huge next week. So, the first week is about stirring stuff up. This week, clearing, kind of, I'm shaking it all up and then see what's floating up, all those thoughts and stuff, clearing them out. So we've got more room to see what's left, and that connecting to you to see who you want to love. So that's really, really important for you for next week after you've done the declutter. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you then.